It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3, and World Spine Day is what we are commemorating as we build up to it today. And I know that there are many, many individuals, such as yourself, who may be suffering, and this is why we've got the good doctors on the couch. Dr. Kruger and Dr. Lenton will be taking you through some of the details you need to know just so you can keep your spine in good nick. But naturally, when it comes to having experiences about how people have rehabilitated with regard to spine injuries, we have so many of those cases right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. You'll be surprised at how back sort of cringing, or should I say stressing, operating a camera can be.
Oh, my buddy.
Standing all show.
I think it's one of the most physically grueling jobs in our little world here. You're dealing with heavy equipment, but you've got to be on your feet for like 12, 14 hours a day sometimes. And that, for me, is the killer. And one of our cameramen, we don't really like him that much, but we thought we'd bring him on because he's just so ridiculously good looking. We call him Skippy. Shaun Graeme he's walked this journey with us. He had a back op last year. So, Skippy, if you can step into the light, my friend, you are allowed. This is the only time you're allowed to step out.
First time they put a cameraman in front of the camera, which is probably not the best.
And it's a mistake we'll never make again.
In fact, can you move around the other see the cameraman? Don't know where to stand, man.
He doesn't know
what telling us where to stand.
He doesn't know where his good side is yet. Shaunie, I think like me, you woke up in another body. You had that bizarre experience of waking up where your body, your system is completely compromised. So walk us through what actually happened to you and the op that you had.
Exactly. Well, my journey with this sort of chronic back pain started about 17 years ago, where I was wakeboarding and I landed really badly, and I actually slipped a disc for the first time. And from then, it's just been a sort of constant struggle. And I went through the conventional methods of physiotherapy and getting the strength back. And then about a year ago, I was surfing and landed wrong again. The Monday morning, my alarm went off for work. Try to get up, try to move my feet, put my feet down. I just had no power in my legs, couldn't stand.
Wow.
And eventually, after trying to go back through that route, which had worked before, I went to physio, I actually went to chiro, I went to so many different professionals. The final specialist, MRI, showed me there was just no option, and they had to do the same surgery as Graeme had.
The microdissectomy.
Yeah, which is, pretty interesting route to get back to this point.
How hectic has it been, that rehabilitation path? Because you seem to be doing well now. I know every day is like a blank slate. What has really worked for you to get you to this point? Because you're looking great, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Looking good, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, like my only advice to anyone that's been through this is you have to move, you have to move, you have to move. As soon as you stop moving, you just seize up, and it's almost a daily challenge of each day was, okay, now I need to move my feet. And that's what I didn't realize. I said to my wife, I'll be back in the pool. I'll be swimming laps by week 3. And then when I was shuffling around the living room for 3 weeks, I was like, okay, cool, my legs don't work anymore. And then it was, that was the biggest challenge for me, being such an active human, to get into that rhythm of just moving. And then eventually you feel like you're not made of glass anymore, and then you can move. And now I've got to that point where I'm about 85%. So I can play golf twice a week, surf twice, 3 times a week, do exercise every evening. So I think that's
and guys, he's ginger. If he can do this, anybody can do this. I'm drawing on my inner ginger strength as well for this. No, buddy, it's been awesome to watch, and I think it's taken commitment. And we know you've been through the hard yards, dude. So well done. Keep it up, man. Okay, now get back to work, please. Get back to work. I know we love you guys.
So while you explain your story, doctors, if you don't mind, perhaps anybody's not going to know about a slipped disc. I think it's quite important for a bit of an illustration as to what that actually means.
Sure. Well, if I can just say, firstly, the disc does not slip. That's a bit of a layman's way of describing it. The way I like to describe it to patients is if you take a tube of toothpaste and you take the cap off, you give it a little squeeze, you get a little dollop of toothpaste that comes out. If you give it a big squeeze, you get a lot of toothpaste.
Get a big bulge.
Now, you can never get that toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. Now, I don't know if we can focus in the camera. You'll have to tell me if it's focusing. But what happens is that the disc, which sits right in the middle of the body of the vertebra. We call this part the body of the vertebra.
Yes.
And it sits right there, and there are very strong fibers that go around here to hold it, because there's tremendous pressure from above and from below. But those fibers do a pretty good job until you do something like a wakeboarding accident or some sort of a twist that tears the fibers. And the most common place for that disc to move to what we call herniate is backwards. So if we look here, this is the back of the body, this is the front, this is the business end, this is where the action happens. Here are the neurological fibers, the spinal cord is right here, there's a little nerve root that comes off here, as we call it, off the cord. Now that disc can herniate or ooze into that area, that little canal where the nerve comes out of, then it puts pressure. And that's when you get what we call referred pain. That's the problem. That's the neurological effect of that disc touching that nerve. And then there are a few other variables. It will depend on how big this hole is.
Yeah.
If you have a very big hole, you can have a nerve, and you can have some disc material that has oozed, doesn't touch the nerve, and you don't get any pain. But as we get older, the disc narrows. That's a normal part of the aging process and what we traditionally called arthritis, osteoarthritis. That narrows, the opening narrows. Now there's not much space. There's no wiggle room in there. So now it doesn't take much for the nerve to get trapped in there. And so what they do is that they go in, you're lying on your tummy usually, and while I'm not a spine surgeon, I have watched and been in a number of spinal operations, so I have a pretty good idea. They'll make an incision, they'll go down, and it's quite far from the skin to where that disc is a good 20 centimeters, 20 millimeters.
It's crazy.
It's
the
quite
keyhole
far.
virus. Yeah, it's
and
quite
so they go
something to
down.
hold.
They sometimes have to nibble away. They say nibble a bit of the bone away to access that disc material, and then they'll pull it out. They'll literally remove it from the pressure that it's creating onto the nerve root, and that can relieve the pain almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and if your neuro's a mensch, you'll leave that little bit of disc in a jar next to your bed, so when you wake up, it'll be the first thing that you see. I think the crazy thing in my journey is operation was a success, but because I've got scoliosis, a curved spine, not having access to rehab, to the chiros, to the sports scientists after, because of COVID, that's where my problem kicked in, because I couldn't re-strengthen the muscles supporting my skew spine. And I would imagine there are a lot of people out there that are going through that rehab journey. Rehab, movement is key. I'm going to chat to Dr. Kruger about that in just a moment. One more session. We are talking about back health in lieu of Spine Health Day, which is coming up just around the corner.